This video is sponsored by Surfshark, the best VPN on the market. Surfshark is an app or browser extension that allows you to change your location to access websites in other countries and keep you safe from hackers. For example, we here in Ireland can access other countries' Netflix libraries, streaming services such as DAZN in Spain for those all-important Premier League games. Surfshark keeps you safe and private by protecting everything you do online. When your device connects to the internet, all that information is, in a way, blurred out. Surfshark is particularly useful for keeping you safe if you use public Wi-Fi, such as a college or a cafe. Surfshark allows you to use one subscription on unlimited devices, meaning that you can even share an account with friends and family. On top of this, Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so if you don't like it, you can even get your money back. Our sign-up offer gives you Surfshark VPN for just over €2 per month and up to 4 months free. Why not scan the QR code on screen or use the link in the description to take advantage of this offer. What is up, my friends? How are we? It's definitely Tuesday, by the way. I've double checked and I'm good to go. I know what day of the week it is. So I'm already one up on yesterday where, the day got away from me. And I did say it was Sunday because, well, it's a bank holiday in Ireland, so it felt like it was a Sunday. So thank you for correcting me on that one because it was a long day. So look, tonight we're going to speak about the frustrations that we all feel as Liverpool fans right now with the way the Isak situation's going. I see loads of people in the chat before we went live feeling a little bit despondent, but it was always going to be the case that we have to wait for Newcastle to get somebody sorted before we could get a deal done. So we'll talk about that tonight. We'll talk about Liverpool's search for a centre-back. We'll talk about Tyler Morton's now confirmed departure to Lyon. We wish him all the best. We'll discuss Rodrygo as he looks like he's staying put at Real Madrid. And lots more to come over the next 90 minutes or so. As always, we do appreciate you guys coming in to have a chat with us. The second episode of the Anfield Agenda podcast is now recorded and in the bag. That will be out for members from 11 p.m. tonight. So if you are a member, check that out on the community tab of the membership tab of the channel. And then for everybody else, it will be out at 11 a.m. on Spotify as a video podcast and of course on the YouTube channel as well. Right, let's get going and we'll start off with for Super Chat of the day. So, Craig, every day goes on, I'm losing hope with Isak. I don't know what else I can say. I understand the frustrations from people, but it was always going to be a case that we have to wait for Newcastle to get their business done. And that's something that's just out of Liverpool's control. I'm probably in the minority on this one in that I've always been very relaxed about the situation. I do feel we get Isak. I really, really do. It might go a little bit later than we would have all wanted, but ultimately, I'm calm about it. You know, we have done great business in this summer's window, and Isak, to me, was always going to be the cherry on top. But we do have to look at the numbers game in this as well. I think it's very reasonable to look at the amount of players we could move out and then ask, have we really brought in enough numerically? So we'll talk about that tonight, what that means for young Rio. Are we leaving ourselves a little bit short if we can't get Isak? I think we are for what it's worth, but I'm still fairly relaxed about it. Speaking again with people today, there doesn't seem to be any doubt that the player wants us, we want the player, but we are waiting to see what happens with Sesko. Reports today seem to suggest he's favouring a move towards Manchester United. Both clubs have now had bids accepted by RB Leipzig, although Newcastle's is €5 million more than United, so make sense of that if you can. So it's just a waiting game to see what happens there, and like I've said, unless something drastic changes, it does feel like Sesko could be headed to Old Trafford. So let me know your thoughts on that one, of course, as well. Jack said, have we been linked with a centre-back yet? Yes, many. But linking and making a play for very different things, my man. We'll talk about a couple of centre-backs today. One new name that's come into the mix, well, certainly a new name for me anyway, is Estadron centre-back. So we'll look at him a little bit. He's been reportedly linked to Liverpool and Arsenal. So we'll talk about him today. Youngster by the name of Jeremy Jacquet, spelled Jacquet. So we'll talk about him tonight. We'll talk about, of course, Giovanni Leone, whose name has come up again today in the media with Liverpool. But the one that really confuses me is the situation with Mark A. This one I'm confused about because some reports say Liverpool have made 2 offers. Others say we've yet to make an offer. And truth is, I don't know which one it is. But I do know that I think we should go and get Mark Gay. Newcastle, of course, interested in him. Newcastle to be fair to Newcastle, they have a long-standing interest in Mark Gay. Tried to sign him for 65 or 70 million quid, and Crystal Palace held out. So now, where does this one go? Well, look, this is a gut feeling thing, so please don't take it as a gospel, but I get the feeling he's waiting for us to see what we do. Do I think we should pay £50 million to Palace? No, I don't think he's worth it in this valuation of the way the window is. I think 40 million would be fairer, but I can't control Liverpool's side of it, so it is a difficult one. It's a tough one, because I agree with everybody who's worried about the centre-back situation. Look, we haven't even seen the full complement of Liverpool's back four together once this pre-season yet. You know, Virgil was obviously ill yesterday, so he couldn't play. We did see Konate back, we did see Frimpong, we did see Kirkes, but I still agree with everybody that we're a little bit light at centre-back, and one, maybe two, would be, well, very much welcome. Campbell, LFC 13, thank you, my friend, for joining Anfield Agenda Ultras. Really appreciate you. Andrew James said, Man United sacking staff but still paying 75 million. I find it awful. It is a weird situation. Now, obviously, clubs have to go about their transfer business. I mean, the argument would be, I guess, United have to get back to where they want to be, or the financials are going to get worse. So I guess they're looking at a roll of the dice here to invest money into the playing staff to hope that they can get themselves back to where they want to be, which is challenging for titles in Champions League football. On the other side of it, United fans, I'm sure, would say, well, they're going to make sales. They're going to try and free up some money, which of course they will. But so far, that hasn't really been going swimmingly well for them. But let me say, I'm glad to be back in Adidas with Liverpool stuff on it. You may have seen me in the red shirt in the video earlier on today, and tonight I thought I'd jump on in the hoodie because it's a little bit more comfortable. I'm a little bit less self-conscious because the man boobs in a jersey, I don't know. You were all very kind in the comments to me, by the way. Thank you. But yeah, I feel a bit more comfortable tonight with the hoodie on. Gorgeous top. Thank you. So I've been really jinxed with Liverpool. 4 years in a row we've ordered stuff directly from the club, and 4 years in a row one half of it's gone missing. So don't know what's going on with the rest of the order, but got the jersey and the hoodie today, and hopefully the rest follow suit tomorrow. If you guys got your shirts today, by the way, do let me know in the comments. Anybody I've spoken to seems to be really happy with the purchases that they've made. I certainly am. Ben Miller said, evening Craig, did you say Isak could force a move because he's 3 years into his contract? I never said that, no. There were reports that he could buy himself out of his contract. I think it was, I want to say it was Anything Liverpool that maybe posted up about some FIFA or UEFA statute. I don't think it comes into play here, to be honest, because there's still the situation that if he did do that, there'd be compensation due, and obviously if he went and signed for Liverpool, there'd be all kinds of legal wrangling. So I certainly wouldn't be looking at that as an option that's realistic, mate. It's going to have to come down to Newcastle getting a player. Steve Tufnell said, waiting for the green kit personally. Oh, dude, same. Look, I wanted to get the red one because honestly, I love the red shirt. I think it looks really cool. But I'm like you, man. I'm looking for that green one. And as soon as that gets released, that'll be getting my money as well. Are top players insured? The truth is, Mark, I don't know. I don't know, mate. Look, I from a common sense perspective, I couldn't imagine they aren't. You know, I don't know any other business in life where assets aren't insured, or at least, you know, looked after in the case of something that happened with Diogo. But these things are also very personal and private, so I really don't know. You know, I've spoken to a few people and I haven't got a definitive answer yet on what the story is there. I don't mean this to sound disrespectful to you, but I really don't mind either. You know, as long as Diogo's family is made whole and looked after financially, that's, as a fan, that's all I really care about at this moment in time. If it means we have to not have a transfer, so be it. You know, his family certainly would be the first priority for me anyway, and I'm sure for your good self. Splodge said, looking good, Craig. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Appreciate that. Feeling very comfortable in the hoodie anyway. Love the colour of it. I think it's very nice. Never really wear hoodies with zips in them, so this is a new one for me. The hoodie suits you and the home shirt too. Thank you. That's really kind of you. Craig, United fans talking about challenging for the league because of their signings. Look, they're deluded, but we're supposed to be, right? We're all supposed to be deluded. I mean, how many years did I feel like Liverpool might do something special when we brought in one or two good players? But truth of the matter is, deep down, I don't think any Manchester United fan with any kind of sense feels that they're going to challenge this year. For what it's worth, I don't even think they'll get Champions League football with the squad that they currently have. You know, you don't want to look at pre-season and take it as a judgment for anything, but Ruben Amorim still has a lot of problems in that Manchester United team and a lot of deficiencies. So for me, even if they brought in Sesko, they've absolutely got themselves a nice front line there, no denying that. Sesko, Cunha and Mbeumo, good players, no arguing. But after that, outside of Bruno, I still feel like they've lots and lots of issues in their team. Mike, how are we, my man? Said, new gear looking good, Craig. Tired of people saying we don't need Isak and to prioritise centre-back with Liverpool. We can and will do both. So, look, I've always understood, Mike, people's concern about centre-back, but I've never understood the one or the other option, like that people maybe thought Liverpool were only going to bring in one. It was always a case that Liverpool want to bring in another forward and, of course, a centre-back. Maybe you could argue we need two centre-backs, and I do understand that, but yeah, we don't need Isak stuff, I think, is a bit mad, because let's look at the options that Liverpool have up front. We're going to sell Darwin, you know, whether that's AC Milan or Al Hilal, that's going to happen. We've sold Luis Diaz, so that's another space gone. Federico Chiesa, most likely going to move on, and there's even talk today that Liverpool will consider a loan for him with an obligation at the end of it if nobody puts up the money. So then you're looking at, you know, how many do we have? And even allowing for young Rio to come in and compete on the left side with Cody Gakpo, I still feel we're minimum one forward short. You could be greedy and say two. And I mean a starting forward. You know, Ugo's obviously come in and he'll play, but I still feel we need that second body, especially if we're going to sell Darwin on as well. So for me, you got to fill in centre-back and you got to get a forward in. And the problem, I guess, is if the Rodrigo news is true, and like, to be fair, I've always had my doubts about whether Liverpool were realistically going to move for Rodrigo, but there's a report from the Mirror today that said Rodrigo has decided to stay and fight for his place at Real Madrid this season, despite strong interest from Liverpool, Arsenal and Tottenham. Now, again, I've no way to say whether that's true or untrue, but if he's not an option, just for argument's sake, again, all your eggs are very firmly in the Isak basket there. And the problem with that, of course, is we know Liverpool have the means to sign Isak, but we are still waiting for Newcastle to get replacements. And that is, unfortunately, something that's out of Liverpool's control. And I don't know when this will move along, but I still feel every bit as confident about us signing Isak. Let's play it worst case scenario for a moment. Let's say United get Sesko, so they bring him in. So what's left then for Newcastle to look at? Well, they're working in Johan Visa still. Gonçalo Ramos is a name that's come up. Is he somebody who they could actually get over the line? Really, I don't know. But it won't be from a lack of money or a lack of trying from Newcastle's perspective. But they have had a nightmare window thus far, missing signing after signing. Trafford, Cunha and Mbeumo, Sesko, maybe Ekitike, Trafford, as I've mentioned. It's just one after another. And yeah, it's just like, the best way I can describe this at the minute is it feels like we're in a property chain where we're waiting for others to get their stuff done. It looks like the Anfield Rat made a mistake last night when they declared that Isak's agent was at Anfield. Apparently it was Will Wright's agent, according to our friends at Anfield Index. And look, not saying that to disparage Anfield, Thaw at all. We all make mistakes. I just got particularly excited, I think, along with many other Liverpool fans, when we thought the agent was there last night. But it seems like that was a mistake, a genuine mistake. I'm certainly not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know where we're at now. Just messaged Gay asking him if he'll sign post-Community Shield. Nice. So what do we think's going on with the Mark Gay situation? I really can't get a read on it, because let me just take you through a couple of different posts that we've seen today, right? So There's this one here from Ed Aarons that said, understand Crystal Palace are yet to receive offers from Mark Gay, who's said to be happy to stay at Selhurst Park and see out the final year of his contract. Liverpool, still thought to be his preferred option, but Newcastle could revive interest. Crystal Palace want £40 million. So that seems reasonable. £40 million, I think Liverpool should get cracking on it. But on the other side of it, Santiago Una has said Crystal Palace have rejected 2 offers from Liverpool for Mark Gay. Palace want at least €55 million, which is just under £50 million, and the Reds do not intend to spend that much and are planning to move on to other targets. So I don't know which reporting is correct. I don't know if Liverpool have made bids that have been turned down. I don't know if Liverpool are playing the waiting game because they want Crystal Palace's price to come down. But if Newcastle do make a big play here for Mark Gay, then we'll soon find out very quickly if Liverpool want to sign him or not, or if the player has an interest in going to Newcastle. On top of that, tonight we'll discuss those other young centre-backs that we've spoken about as well. One report here suggested that, where is it? Sorry, I'm going through all my notes here. This one from Paul Joyce said Liverpool have been looking at a number of young centre-backs across Europe, including Parma's Giovanni Leone. While there remains an interest in Mark Gay, should Palace agree to sell, then the asking price for the player would be key, given he's entered the final year of his contract. On top of that, there were reports tonight that Liverpool are looking at a new young centre-back as well who've been linked with Arsenal. Graham Bailey said Liverpool and Newcastle are both showing interest in Arsenal target Jeremy Jacquet. I don't know much about this guy. I did a little bit of a research on him. He plays for Stade Rennes. He's what age is he? What age is he? Where's his age? 20 years of age, sorry. He is a right-footed centre-back. That's about all I know about him. And then we've got the report from Romano as well that says Parma centre-back Giovanni Leone is liked by Liverpool. They're looking for a young, promising centre-back. So again, confliction of reporting. Are we looking for a young, promising centre-back? Or are we looking for Mark Gay? Because they're two very different searches, in my opinion. And you could make a very good argument that we need both those options, a young centre-back and a here-and-now centre-back, particularly as we still haven't got the answer from Konate. Right, let's keep going. Where was I? Sorry, I've gone through some super chats and I've lost my way. This one I've done with Splodge. Thank you, mate. Mike, I've done your one as well. Thank you. Ryan said, do you know when the green kit is being released? No, I don't. I'm guessing maybe end of this month, start of September, because they want to get, obviously, a run of the home and away shirt sold first. But truth is, mate, I don't know. I know Next accidentally had it listed in the kids section the other day on their website, but I'm an eager buyer, so I'm waiting for it to come out myself. Tipsy Dipsy, how are we? And say hello to the rest of the lads for me. They know me well, obviously. Craig Strange that Sesko hasn't made up his mind yet. I think he has, but I'm still holding out some hope that maybe Newcastle can convince him. It has always felt like, watching this process play out from the outside, that Newcastle had to try and move quickly and gazump Manchester United to try and get in there ahead. It feels like now that both clubs have had offers accepted and the player has to make his decision. His doubts about United seems to be, can they really get this transfer finalised financially quickly? And I don't know the answer to that, obviously, because I don't know where Manchester United's financial restraints are and if they need to move players on before they could perhaps complete this one. So, yeah, I'm a bit confused from the outside anyway, but feels like Newcastle might lose out on this one again, unfortunately. Do we think Ibu's Twitter post means he's staying about life being a movie? I don't know. There's certainly been some good reporting that suggested the communication is still good and Ibu is very happy. And look, I hope we get an agreement there for him to extend, because we know what he's capable of alongside Virgil. But even at that, my argument would be that we should still bring in Mark Gay, because 3 top quality centre-backs that can play in the here and now would be a dream for Arna. He can absolutely then rotate between Virgil, Mark Gay and Ibrahima Konate, and have a bit of breathing room for injuries, the likes of which we currently obviously have with Joe Gomez. Right, Eddie, how are we, sir? I think we need to move on now from this Isak situation because it's costing our summer. We can't get into the season with Hugo. So I get where you're coming from, but I don't think this was going to be a situation that was going to be resolved in 2 days. It always felt like this could be a delay to get Isak. And moving on from him, respectfully, to where? Honestly, at this point, a genuine question, to where? Because if Arna wants a number 9, who? There aren't many left. You know, do you try to gazump them both for Sesko? Probably not at this point. So I don't see the other options realistically. Like Visa, not good enough, too old. Watkins, too old. Gonzalo Ramos, well, look, he was somebody who had been linked with us, I think, by Anfield Watch, if my memory's right. I think it was Sam Maguire. But that's, in my opinion, a big drop-off. And Arna wants Isak. He's the number 1 target. So until that is absolutely 100% dead in the water, which I really don't think it is. For what it's worth, I still think we sign Isak this summer. I think we might just have to delay a bit longer while Newcastle try to figure their shit out with regards to bringing in a striker. Which is, like I said, out of our control, unfortunately. Nimrod, what's your feelings regarding Isak happening now? No, look, mate, honestly, I'm 95%. Like I've said, I've no doubts in my mind. The only problem is the thing that's out of our control, which is when the hell Newcastle can convince somebody to sign for them. But the player wants us. Newcastle are back training tomorrow, their first team. So let's see what happens there. But I think I get a feeling something will happen tonight while we're live. Whether that's we finally get the answer what Sesko's going to do, whether he's going to Manchester United or Newcastle. But Newcastle, either way, know they have a striker who wants out and a striker who's not ready to play as well in Isak. So they couldn't go into the start of the season, even best intentions now with Isak, because he hasn't had a pre-season and his fitness levels wouldn't be right. So it's just a waiting game, but I'm really confident. Even speaking with the lads on the podcast earlier on and, you know, other football people, there seems to be no doubt that Liverpool will get their guy unless Newcastle don't bring in a forward. And even at that, it'll just delay the inevitable by 6 months or a year. Yusuf said, if Sesko chooses United, you should just pivot to centre-backs. Newcastle have been unnecessarily dragging this out. I don't think, to be fair to Newcastle, I don't think they're unnecessarily dragging it out. I just don't think they've been very good at being able to convince signings to come in. And Eddie Howe, I mentioned this pretty early in the window, it feels like Eddie Howe has kind of been left with too much to do. He's been over on the pre-season tour in Korea and Asia with the lads. He's trying to get deals sorted out. He's trying to figure out what's going on with Isak, and he just doesn't seem to be getting the help and support that, let's say, Arna would be getting from Richard Hughes, Michael Edwards, and our recruitment team. So it's an unfortunate one, but on the pivoting to the centre-back thing, I don't even think we should be pivoting. I think that should have been worked on regardless. As soon as we sold Jarell Kwanzaa, we knew the need was there for a young centre-back, and quite frankly, I don't have an excuse. And I can't make an excuse as to why Liverpool haven't gotten their finger out in that. But remember, we still have 4 weeks of the window left. So I know we all have our mindset on the league starting, and that's understandable. It's a week from Friday. But the window doesn't close till September the 1st, so there is still time there. If you're only 95% certain, Craig, you're 5% uncertain. You know, this isn't, David, a mathematical certainty, right? I'm giving you an opinion. My 5% uncertain is because I can't say for certain that Newcastle will find a player. If you could say to me right now, David, Craig, Newcastle will sign a player, I'll give you 100%. But I can't talk about Newcastle's business because I don't have good enough information on what their plans are. But we know that they're shitting the bed trying to get players in. Craig, why are people saying the Verts played well? I don't know. It might be, and I'm just spitballing here, Stephen, because he played well. Perhaps. I don't understand people who think he didn't play well. I'm not saying he was man of the match. That was certainly Dominic Szoboszlai for me. But if you didn't see what Florian Wirtz brings to the team, I don't know what to say to you, mate, because it was very clear to me the attributes he's going to give to Arna, the moving the ball through the lines, the breaking lines that we've seen with him, Gravenberch and Dominic Szoboszlai. So really, respectfully, I don't know what you saw, but I seen a player who seemed to almost wanted a bit too much at times, but certainly a player who very clearly showed what he's going to bring to the team. Neil said Wirtz's split-second decision-making was great. I agree. But, like I said, for me, Szoboszlai stole the show yesterday. I thought he was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Ryan Gravenberch as well, top-notch. But, look, I love that we're having these debates, right? Because we've got so many great options now in midfield that Arna has almost a spoil of riches there. So let's wait and see what happens. But, you know, that was his first run out with Anfield. He is human as well. So I'm sure as those relationships build up around the pitch and he starts to play with stronger and stronger 11s, which to be fair, yesterday was a pretty strong team for that second game. Yeah, just be upbeat, my man. Be positive about it because I promise you we've got ourselves an incredible footballer. James said Wirtz can see passes that not many can. Yes, 100%. Like the great players, mate, we think we'll all agree on this. The great players always see things a second or two ahead of the rest, right? And you always get the feeling with Florian that when he receives the ball, he knows what he's going to do before the ball even gets to him. You know, he can see it. That Thiago-esque kind of vision that the greats have. And honestly, I'm so excited to see him. But I want to just say as well how proud I am for Dom to step up and really say, look, if this is the level we're going to, then you can bet your ass me, Mr. Dominic Szoboszlai, is going to be at that level as well. Because if those three can play at the level, whether it's Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, Wirtz, McAllister, whomever's in the three in midfield, the pressing, the energy, and the pain in the arse they're going to be for opposition teams is going to be truly just a thing to behold. Just think PSG last year. That's kind of how I think Arna wants this to go. Nick said, hey Craig, you said at the start of the stream that both Sesko bids have been accepted. I think it should be clarified that they're only being received. No, you're wrong. They've been accepted, both of them. And it's down to the player. I don't mean to be rude on that, Nick, but there's no clarification needed. They've both been accepted. Even though there's a 5 million difference valuation in the bids. So we're just going to have to wait and see. That's my understanding of it, that both bids have been accepted and that they're leaving it down to the player. Now, for me, Nick, I was a bit confused on it because if both bids are accepted, then why would Newcastle have bid more? You know, that's what I can't figure out on this, Nick. Newcastle have clearly bid 5 million more than Manchester United. Now, I don't know the terms of how both offers have been structured. That much I will say. But the reporting tonight has been, well, it's been mixed on it, Nick, to be fair with you. I have seen reports to back up what you've said, but my information on it was that they'd both been accepted and it was down to the player to choose. Yeah. But look, we'll wait and see, my man. We'll wait and see. I hope you're right, by the way, for what it's worth, Nick. So I certainly don't mean to be disparaging, but yeah, it just feels like, I don't know. I hope, look, I'd love you to be right, Nick, and me to be wrong on this. Bet your ass on that, mate, because that would give Newcastle a better shout at this point, and that's what I'm looking for. So yeah, I've just got some type of an inkling, Nick, over the last few days that Newcastle might be pissing into the wind a bit on this one, unfortunately. But, as I said, Nick, you've seen some reports that are more than credible as well. Let's wait and see how it comes out, my friend. Have you seen the outrage from Villarreal after signing Thomas Partey? I don't really want to go into this subject too much because it's obviously a very emotive subject, but I don't see how there could be anything but outrage over that signing from the Villarreal fans. Look, I get that people will say innocent until proven guilty, and everybody absolutely has the right to due process. No problem with that. But what we do have here is not a player who's at a club when this is happening, a player who has no club at present, and there's a club in Villarreal willing to sign him, which I think is a fucking disgrace. with what's happening in the circumstances. We as football fans are constantly being told that the game doesn't want hate in it, that the game doesn't want misogyny in it, that the game wants to be a showpiece for morals for the rest of the world. This doesn't add up, does it? So, let's be honest about it. Let's talk about this like adults. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace, in my opinion, that somebody who has been charged, and yes, hasn't been found guilty. I'm not trying to say he has, but this isn't like he was at Villarreal when this happened and they were trying to stand over their player. They willingly brought a guy in that has these charges hanging over his head, and if you're a fucking Villarreal fan, you surely can't be happy about that. This from David Ornstein just dropped in. Said Leipzig speaking to Liverpool about a possible move for Harvey Elliott. Situation at the early stage, but Leipzig exploring, clubs talking. 22-year-old midfielder seen as a potential replacement for Xavi Simons. So, will I fix this situation for everybody? Because I think you're wanting me to say something particular here. Tell Leipzig that they're not getting near Harvey Elliott unless they can convince Benjamin Sesko to go to Newcastle. Otherwise, Liverpool have no interest in negotiating. That sound good? Are we happy with that one? Because that's what should happen here, in my opinion. If Liverpool can in any way try to sway this situation in their favour. And look, Harvey's word is the most important in all of this. Obviously, what Harvey wants to do is, that's first and foremost. It's his career. But if he's open to it, I think Liverpool should be leaning in there 100% and going, well, if Sesko goes to Manchester United, you can fuck right off thinking you're getting Harvey Elliott. Respectfully, that's exactly what I think Liverpool will do here. Obviously not on those particular terms, the way I've laid them out, but, let's be honest about it. Let's be adults. This is the way you got to lean into these things. So if we can help Newcastle get their man, and it helps us get our man, and, Harvey is comfortable with a move anyway, why not? But like I said, first and foremost, the priority here should be for Harvey Elliott and what he wants to do with his career, because he's been a great servant to us. We all love him to bits. It's a sad day if he leaves the football club, but we've always spoken about this from the point of view of him wanting to really just push on with his career and get minutes. So, yeah, look, if we can, tilt it. Let me just ask that as a question for the first poll tonight. Let's have a ask on this one. So, should Liverpool lean on Leipzig to accept NUFC offer to then get Harvey? Right, so should Liverpool lean on Leipzig to accept Newcastle's offer for Sesko to then get Harvey? So, SESK. Okay. Let's see if you're as much of a shithouse as I am, because immediately that's where my head went to when I seen this. What's next up? Where were we? This one. Did the green kick come out on the 1st September, Craig? Oh, cool. Thank you. That's brilliant. Appreciate that, Gemma. I will be there, money waiting, on the 1st of September to get it. The real Johnny Sins. How are you, sir? Ibu actually tried and looked bothered yesterday. Could be his La Liga audition for Real Madrid. No, I think I agree with you. Ibu certainly put in a good shift yesterday. He looked like a leader yesterday, actually. He did look like he was commanding that back four, where Virgil wasn't there, which I found interesting. But yeah, I thought it was a decent display from Ibu yesterday. Certainly full of effort anyway. Nathan Collins as a centre-back option. Definitely an option, but a difficult one to get done. Because look at Brentford summer. They've just made Nathan Collins their captain. They're getting fleeced of players left, right and centre. They've lost their manager. I think that would be a very, very, very difficult deal to get done with Brentford. But as an option, Luke, I'd have no problem seeing Nathan Collins come to Liverpool. So, Romano said, understand United's feeling from earlier today is even stronger tonight. The club believes Benjamin Sesko only wants to join Manchester United. Manchester United forward the official proposal to Sesko while also negotiating with Leipzig. So, he's not looking good. He's not looking good there for Newcastle again, which is a shit one. So, I don't know what to say to Newcastle fans at the minute. They must be raging with the way this is going, but it's not looking great, is it, for Newcastle, which of course delays us as well. So again, just for those of you who are asking me about the update, Romano said, understand United's feeling from earlier today is even stronger tonight. The club believes Sesko only wants to join United, but that's one side of it, right? And look, this is sometimes a game of hearts and minds, like I've said before. Some reports have said that the player has told Newcastle that he likes the terms or whatever. So until we know definitively one way or the other, I guess we're all just sitting around. But like I said at the start of the stream, it feels like the momentum here is with United in that deal. So let me just bring this up from this arsehole. So, mate, your name's Pork Chop and you've got a fucking picture. What spin, dickhead? There's no spin. I'm reading what journalists are writing. How are you thick fucks not able to comprehend that? I haven't spinning anything. I'm reading what journalists are writing, you dumb fuck. Now, again, Pork Chop. Offer your lamb chop, pork chop, play along, and leave the adults to this. So, again, if you have a gripe, go to the reporters who write the stories and cry arse to them. I ain't a journalist. I read out stories and discuss them. Now off you go, pork chop. Always won. Always won. But at least he paid, right? At least he paid for it, so that's okay. Just, I get it. Do you know what? I love this, knowing how many people are so bothered by me that they spend money now just to try and hear my voice, say their name. It's quite touching. It's quite touching, mate. I'm very humbled by how much you love me, really. You know? You love me, don't you? It's good to see. It's good to see. I love me as well, by the way, for what it's worth. I mean, look at me. Fucking awesome. Right, let's keep going. This one, thank you. You didn't put in a comment, dude, but thank you. Appreciate you. Calling Dr. Jones. Calling Dr. Jones. Dr. Jones, wake up now. Wake up now. I do look like the guy in that video, actually, don't I? Right. Christer Hansen said, did you see Newcastle forget Target and Seoul? I believe that was a piss take, Christer, from a fake account, I believe, or a mock account. I struggle to believe that Newcastle would actually miss an entire footballer. So yeah, I think that was a banter account. Let's move on to Rodrigo and Gay. We have enough firepower up front. Wirtz could play false 9, Ekatike, and keep Darwin. We might play better with Wirtz behind him. So on that, mate, the only thing I seen today on this was a report from the Mirror that said Rodrigo's decided to stay and fight for his place at Real Madrid this season, despite strong interest from Liverpool, Arsenal and Spurs. So, you know, I don't know what else to say on that one. I've always been dubious about Liverpool going for Rodrigo. I've said that to you guys for the past few weeks. I like Rodrigo, and I'd be more than happy for him to become a Liverpool player, but I think we need to remember what the goal of this summer was. And I know that we're so preconditioned as Liverpool fans to feel some transfer disappointment in recent years. But going into this summer, the plan was for only top targets. And we know, without any hesitation, that Alexander Isak is Arne's top target. So if he's the top target, then we got to go get the top target. And if that takes a little bit longer and a little bit more patience from us fans, I think we're going to have to just suck it up. But I can't make any excuses for the centre-back stuff. The centre-back stuff is... I can't put my finger on it. I can't even make an excuse. It just feels poor that we haven't made a decision in that regard yet, because we need one. We definitely need one. Right, let's keep going. Where was I? This one from Nick. Said, from what I've seen reported, Leipzig themselves haven't accepted either bid, but that Sesko's camp has agreed terms with both. So I've definitely seen that reporting as well, Nick, and to be fair, I read out some of that just a moment ago, mate. But maybe this is the Newcastle agenda, maybe trying to push their own narrative forward and say that both deals have been agreed. But either way, Nick, like you've said, I think it will come down to what the player wants. And unfortunately for us as Liverpool fans at the minute, who would have a vested interest in Sesko going to Newcastle, it looks like we're going to be disappointed and have to wait a little bit longer. But again, Nick, thank you for your insight on it, and apologies if I came across condescending the first time. How many more dinner ladies have United sacked to be able to offer 85 million euros for Sesko? I thought they'd spend all their budget on the other two. It definitely feels like a piss take, doesn't it? Like I said, there's this difficult situation where football clubs can't just stand still. They always have to try to move forward. But you're right, mate. When they've gone around sacking off people left, right and centre, crying poor mouth, saying the club would have run out of money, talking about the club are committed to 140 million in outgoings for this summer again, and now you see this, it definitely does stink a little bit. Now, it's not really our business, right, as Liverpool fans, but you do have to feel for those United staff that lost their jobs because of, well, the mistakes of those far higher up the food chain than them. Leipzig wants Elliott, said Ornstein. Yeah, you obviously put that in, Ryan, just before we went through earlier on. And like I said, if there's a way that we can lean on Leipzig, I'd like to see us do that. It feels like Romano's now gotten the bit between his teeth for United, right? And this is why I keep talking about the narratives in all of this being steered. Let's hope we get some clarity on it, because like I said, we have a vested interest in Newcastle getting a forward in. What else we got? How many goals do you think Ekitike will score this season? Depends what way he's utilised. And I always say this, I don't really care who scores the goals as long as Liverpool win games of football. If Mo scores 50, brilliant. If Ekitike scores 30, brilliant. But as long as Liverpool are winning games of football, I don't really mind who puts the ball in the net. And I don't want to set targets for somebody in their first year either. So I think it's best to just review this when the year's over and see if we feel happy with what he's contributed. This one. The Isak deal not happening now, unfortunately. Why? Genuinely, for all the people who are just catastrophizing the situation, why is it not happening? Like, Newcastle have missed out on multiple forwards. So I think to say it's not happening is just defeatist, because nothing has really changed. We still need Newcastle to get a forward in. And Newcastle, to be fair, also have to make sure that they get a body in, because they know that Isak doesn't want to be here, and they know he's not fit to start the season. So they've got to bring in a forward anyway. It just means, to me, it's delayed a little bit. It's going to happen. I don't know anybody that doesn't think it's going to happen in the footballing world. But like I said, we can't force Newcastle into being able to do the job of recruiting somebody, unfortunately. And I don't like when people get defeatist. Our fans sometimes have, and I say this ironically for me, but the amount of watchalongs I've done over the years where half time it's 0-0 and people want to give up, or people just say give the league to Manchester City or Arsenal. Stop being so defeatist. Believe. Be positive. It's been a good transfer window. We're a club on the up and up. Players want to come and play for us, but we can only control what we can control. And like I said, we can't control Newcastle's transfer business, unfortunately. Unless we lean into this Leipzig Elliott thing, perhaps. Scooby said, people acting like Newcastle isn't trying to get these players. Their targets are literally just being scooped up by bigger Prem clubs. They've been ambitious and missing out. They've just not got the machine in place to get these transfers done. And it really doesn't... Remember something we spoke about here? I want to say it was a report from Craig Houlden or Keith Downey. It was one of the Newcastle correspondents. And they said that people feel inside football that the vision pitched to these guys to join Newcastle hasn't been the lived experience of the players who've gone there. And if you look at just this pursuit of a striker for Newcastle as a small little window into how things are being run, you can understand that it doesn't look like it's a smooth, well-running, well-oiled machine, right? They've had changes behind the scenes. They've lost Paul Mitchell. It doesn't feel like they're ready to go and that they were... contrast that to our window. We did nothing last year and we were all frustrated, but we were always told that Liverpool have things in place and when the window opens, we're ready to go. And we have. And they did. And you can see how well prepared they were, how quickly they moved, and how decisive they were in doing these things. Newcastle almost feel like they're playing catch-up in the window all the time and are more reactionary rather than being proactive. Zoidberg, looking rad in the hoodie, thank you. Mine on the way. For me, the measure of success this season is beating Arsenal and completely obliterating Madrid. The measure of success for me is silverware every season. And this year, I think the pressure should be up on us because we have, in my opinion now, the best squad. We still have some areas we, of course, need to fix. But I've never been this confident in the Liverpool squad going into a season as I feel right now. And I honestly think a lot of people are still underestimating the business we've done, as mad as that might sound. Paul Wright said, let's be honest, Isak would be great, but not to be all and end all with the creators and the team that we have. Any striker knows where the net is coming a golden boot. I agree, mate. And look, I've said this for weeks. I'm relaxed about the Isak situation. If we hadn't have brought in Hugo Ekitike, I would have been more on edge about it. But honestly, it always felt to me like Isak was the cherry on the top. Now, I do think we need another forward. So if we don't get Isak because Newcastle can't get a player in, and that is the only way I see us not getting him, then I think we have to pivot somewhere. But where that pivot is it Fofana? Well, that would be a change of direction from going after a centre-back. So I'm not sure where the pivot might be. And that's, I guess, where I'll be a little bit nervy. Because if Chiesa goes and Diogo tragically passed, we sold Darwin and we sold Diaz, we haven't brought in enough then. You know, even allowing for Rio to fill in the space for Diaz, I still think we need one more top quality forward to give Arna the options that he wants. So numerically, Salah on the right, we've got Ekitike, let's say, for now, through the centre. Then we've got Gakpo and we've got Rio on the left. You know, that's not enough. That's 4. Arna wants 6. So even if Chiesa stays, which, you know, again would be almost a worst case scenario at this point, still definitely need one more in my opinion. Anybody got any good shouts on a potential pivot if it isn't Isak? Because again, if that reporting is true on Rodrigo, and I don't know if it is, that might be another option out the window. Where are we? This one. Mike said, Wirtz could play false 9 like they've been chatting to Arnold down the pub. Trust manager Richard Hughes and their targets, they know best. I don't want Wirtz playing as a false 9. He could do it, but we need another forward. I just really feel we need another forward. Like Darwin is going to move, I would say this week, in all honesty. I can't see AC Milan really getting their act together and getting the money that we would want for Darwin. So I think if he can agree personal terms with Al Hilal, which must be coming to a conclusion soon, that will happen fast. Romano's been shiting on for the last 2 or 3 days now to say personal terms with Darwin and Al Hilal being discussed, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know, is it going to happen then? Are they talking about those? Have they gotten an agreement on personal terms? Because if it has, then that'll kick on. Mateta would be a terrible show. He's too old. He's like 28. No way we're paying for a 28-year-old striker who's had one good season in the Prem. So, no, not a good show. Right, what are the chances of us signing Isak? Again, if you tell me right now, Craig, Newcastle will get a forward in, I'll tell you we'll have Isak by the end of the window. It's dependent on that for me, Ryan. If they can't get a forward in, they can't sell a forward because they need to have bodies for the season. They have Champions League football themselves and the Prem. So it's coming down to what Newcastle can do in the window. Eddie, in my opinion, Liverpool shouldn't be waiting on Ebu to decide whether he's going to sign a contract to bring in Mark Gay anyway. 100% agree, Eddie. 100% agree with you, my friend. I can't figure out the centre-back delay at all in any way, whether it's going after the young centre-back, whether it's Mark Gay. I am absolutely at a loss to figure out why we have let this situation go on as long as we have without resolving it. Lookman, not good enough. 27 or 28 again. 27, I think. And Inter Milan, very close to getting a deal done for him. But look, lads, come on. Fucking Isak to Lookman. Like, come on. That's... No. Like, we're not going after also Rans here. We want the best. And with all due respect to Adam Lookman, he ain't it. This one. Craig, I'm getting very nervy about this Isak deal. I don't understand the stress of it though. Like, if we don't get Isak, we don't get Isak. I don't get the stress. I don't. I can't tell you how to feel, but I'm not stressed about it at all. As long as we get somebody in. Like, if we ended tomorrow with no centre back and no forward brought in, and we sold Darwin and Chiesa, I'd be gobsmacked, and I'd be thinking, how have they somehow managed to end up short of bodies? But I think we will, mate. And again, there's nothing that you or I or Liverpool can do to make Newcastle be able to attract a player. It's a tough one. We just have to be patient and hope Newcastle get their finger out and get something sorted. Keep Darwin. Darwin is shit. Like, let's not rewrite history. Darwin Nunez is shit. Simple as. And I don't get it. He's had 3 seasons. Not good enough. There isn't even a debate anymore. So, he's shit. He's not good enough. And that's why you're not seeing a whole host of other clubs in the world tripping up to give us £60 million for him. Because everybody can see how he was like a rabbit in a headlight at Liverpool in big moments and had flashes of brilliance, but ultimately isn't good enough. And we deserve better than not good enough. And he's had more than enough chances. He will be gone. And honestly, at this point, I cannot wait to not have to talk about him anymore, because it's a really tough situation being critical of somebody who wants a player to succeed, because I don't want to be critical of a fan that wants a player to succeed. That's what fans should want. But we got to be realistic about it. He just isn't very good. Where am I? This one from Jerry. Is there a date when Liverpool will have to pull the plug on Isak? Do you think FSG have a backup plan for a last minute transfer deadline day surprise? Well, this is the way I'm thinking of it, Jerry. We're letting these players go, right? So they're in conversations to sell Darwin. We know Chiesa is looking for a move away. We've sold Luis Diaz, and Diogo, obviously, that happened at the start of July. So if we're letting all these players go, you'd have to believe there's a plan, because otherwise they're intentionally leaving themselves short, and that would be madness. Like, it would undermine so much of the good business that they've done in the window, Jerry, by bringing in Florian Wirtz, by bringing in Ugo Ekitike, Jeremy Frimpong, Milos Kerkez. Like, you don't need me to go through the list at this point, but yeah, it would feel... I kind of agree with you as well. There has to be a time frame here where we say, okay, it's not happening. As in, Newcastle can't get their shit together. So I don't know when that day is, Jerry, but I agree with you. I think there should be a cut-off point, same as there should be a cut-off point for negotiations with Konate. And the one that has me the most riled up is the centre-back one. The centre-back one just makes no sense at this point. Willingly selling Kwanzaa early in the window and going to Asia in the preseason tour and still do nothing. People saying Doué is a show. There's absolutely no chance in hell that Paris Saint-Germain sell Doué. He's a young French star, great player, but there's no way on hell PSG are going to sell him. It's not like we could cherry pick from a club there that has financial issues or anything, you know. This one, I'm Ferrell, said, we'll be perfectly fine even if we don't land Isak, but as a Swedish fan, it would be wonderful to see the Swede in the team. Been a long time. Glenn Hyson was the last, and not missing anyone. So for me, I'm fine if we don't get Isak, but I'm not fine if we don't get another player. Like I've mentioned, just from a pure numbers game at this point, if we're willing to sell all these forwards, we've got to bring somebody in. And if it isn't Isak, it isn't Isak. I've always been honest about that and said I'm sound if we bring in a player, but Isak's the target. But we got to get somebody in. And I can't push back against that because we are going to sell Darwin. It's in the process. I told you we were selling Diaz. That's happened. Chiesa, the world knows, is looking to go move back to Italy. So let's see what happens. Christopher said, as a big guy, Craig, you don't mind me asking the size you've gone forward the hoodie. Double XL for me, mate, and all the tops. Jersey, hoodie, double X, and t-shirt, but I haven't got the t-shirt yet. And to be fair, Adidas have always been consistent on size, and as you know, I know my Adidas gear, so yeah, comfortable in the double X. It's given me plenty of room. I'm probably an extra large, to be fair, but in hoodies anyway, but I always go a bit bigger because I like it to be baggy. Carl said Isak will happen. Centre-back situation, not sure. I'll be furious if we don't get in a centre-back. Honestly, I will. It'll feel like the window wasn't finished again. And that would be a very frustrating feeling after the start we had, to feel like we haven't finished off the window. You know, we got to make sure we finish the project that we started so well in this transfer window. Craig, is it true Eddie Howe is a relative Newcastle sporting director? Eddie Howe's relative is Newcastle sporting director. It's no wonder they can't close any deals. I don't think they have a full-time sporting director that I'm aware of at the minute, Christ child. Eddie Howe seems to be having to do a bit of everything. Paul Mitchell was their sporting director and he moved on, and to the best of my understanding, I don't think they've replaced him. So it's a bit of a mess, and certainly not a glowing praise of how Saudi have run that club since they've got in. You know, the whole thought process there for Newcastle fans was, oh wow, we've got these super wealthy owners and now, you know, we're going to be this super attractive club, and they still can't seem to fucking get anything sorted. So one of those be careful what you wish for situations, because they should be moving far quicker. Arnas, thank you, my friend. Carl Walsh, John Philippe Mateta. If I want to be respectful to you, Carl, but Mateta is nowhere near good enough to play for Liverpool Football Club. Absolutely nowhere near good enough. Just too much match of the day fever for me on these things. He had one good season with Crystal Palace, playing in a very specific way. He's just nowhere near good enough. I mean, I'd rather keep Darwin over him, in all honesty. Should Liverpool lean on Leipzig, we asked you guys, to accept Newcastle's offer for Sesko so we can get Harvey? The 27% that said no, by the way, if you're actually Liverpool fans, I'd love to understand your reasoning for that one. Because there's no logical reason for a Liverpool fan to say no to this poll, because of course we should be leaning on them to accept the bid if it helps us. But as I said, we'll leave the vote open. We're nearly at 2,500. Alex said, agreed, Craig, we can't rely on Endo and Gomez. I don't think Endo should even be in the conversation at centre-back, because, let's be honest, it's a stick-in-plaster situation. Endo wasn't brought into Liverpool Football Club to play as a centre-back. The fact that he's versatile and can do it is one thing. But if we're looking at calibre of centre-backs, Endo isn't a good enough centre-back. He isn't. Definitely not good enough and dominant aerially. Just not good enough to play the role Liverpool need to play it. So this was supposed to be a non-sticking plaster window. It's supposed to be a get the best, build out the squad, strike the fear of God into everybody, and with all due respect to a very versatile, lovable guy in Endo, not a good enough centre-back for us. So 73% of you guys said yes, we should be leaning on RB Leipzig. I'm sorry for my spelling, I'm dyslexic. I never, ever brought up your spelling, dude. Nor would I. I think you've told me before about the dyslexia, dude, and no judgment from me, sir. I appreciate you being in all the time, Eddie, so no issues on that, sir. Not for me, anyway. Mr. Tiger said, Craig, loving the content. I don't think there are any strikers out there available to improve us if Isak is off. And it's not like they will buy Watkins or Vlahovic, then Ramos, or keep Darwin. Ramos, I don't know. I don't know whether those links in the past from Anfield Watch were spot on or not, but I agree with you. If it's not Isak, I'm struggling to see who at this point. Obviously, Rodrigo would be somebody I think a lot of us would feel comfortable, looking to. But if he's made his mind up to stay at Madrid and fight for his place, then that would be another option off the table. And yeah, I gotta say, I'm clutching at straws then to think of another player. This one. Arnold said, I'm okay without Isak. Dan's gets a chance, get 2 centre-backs. I mean, it's one hell of a drop-off, though, if we're being blunt about this. To promising Jaden. And look, we can't carry too many young, promising players into a new season. So there was a report tonight that said Trainioni is now considered a first-team player at Liverpool, which is great news, by the way. That report from Paul Joy said Trainioni is considered a full-time first-team member for the squad. So you've got him and you've got Rio. And Rio is an attacker, so that's one young attacker. I don't feel comfortable going into the season with another young attacker who has had very limited minutes and hasn't been able to prove fitness. It just doesn't make sense to me. But the centre-backs thing, again, like I said, Arnis, don't understand how we haven't got a centre-back yet. I can't disagree with anybody on that because it just feels weird. Chris, how are we, my man? Said, hey Craig, looking good, mate. Thank you. I'm having a break in my holiday house in France. Nice. We should go and bid for Sesko. Imagine United Newcastle fans. It would be fun. All right, mate. It would. But I don't know. There has to be a master plan of play here that us mere mortals aren't really considering because we're still 2-3 players short. So let me ask that as a poll. How many players short are we going in so far? And by the way, when I'm asking this question, we're going to assume that Darwin is sold because that's going to happen. So with that, how many players short are we? How many players do we still need? So I'm going to assume everybody feels we need at least one. So we'll go 1, 2. It won't surprise you to learn the next number is 3. And I'll go more than 3. So how many more players do we still need? 1, 2, 3, or more than 3? Now, obviously, I didn't give you a choice of each individual positions there, but just if you could have a stab at it there. And by the way, I'm very jealous, Chris, that you're over in the holiday home in France, mate. I hope you're having a wonderful time over there. John said, damn, Craig, I'm jealous. Grey hoodie, I think they're sold out. Can't wait for the green and retro jerseys to come out. Thank you, my man. I lost out on a t-shirt as well that I wanted to get and it was sold out my size. So I know that feeling, unfortunately. I'm still waiting for another tracksuit top, a t-shirt, my son's jersey, my son's hoodie, and my son's t-shirt to come in. But yeah, really happy with the hoodie. Carl said, Nick Vultmada. I'm chilled with the situation, by the way. Actually, do you know what? I haven't even kept track of his situation. Does anybody know what's going on with him? With Nick Vultmada? I know, obviously, Bayern, even as far back as the under-21 Euros, Bayern kind of looked like they thought they had that deal in the bank. But yeah, his name's not one I've seen thrown around in the last few weeks, but maybe that's just because I haven't been looking. But has anybody else seen something on him? Flynn, or Finn, excuse me, bro. How are we in Peterborough? Lovely to see you, my man. I hope you're well. Nick said, I ordered the Pro Training bottoms and didn't realise they didn't have pockets. Oh, yeah, that would be a tough one, man. No pockets on the tracky bottoms. Oh, I couldn't be doing with that. I feel your pain on that one. A couple of the chat saying only wants Bayern. Well, I don't know if that's the case or not, but certainly Bayern have been the strongest linked with them. And they've had a bit of a shitty window themselves. I know Stuttgart were certainly very annoyed at Bayern for what they perceive as going behind their backs. Okay, so Dave O.C. Cop has just posted something, which, look, makes sense on the face of it. So Dave has said, Liverpool want a quick resolution for Isak so they can move on to other targets. Liverpool targeting a centre-back after Isak. Isak is expected to formally tell Newcastle he wants to leave this week. But there's no way, I think, Newcastle sell Isak until they get a player. And I'd love to be wrong on that, and I'd love Newcastle to just say, well, the player doesn't want to be here, let's sell him. But I think the sentiment of what Dave has said there, I don't disagree with one bit. You know, we do need to move on to other targets if Newcastle can't get their ducks in a row. Have you seen the trainers, Craig? I did. I don't like them. I don't like the sole, the kind of beigey sole. I think it takes the look off the runner, so wouldn't be one for me. Now, to be fair, in footwear, I'm usually a Nike person. You know, Adidas clothes, Nike footwear. This one from Carl said, wait until Sesko sees the Old Trafford leaky roof and the finger buffet lunch at Carrington. He'll be begging for St. James's Park. Don't even mention the chicken, Carl. Don't even talk to him about the chicken, mate, the undercooked chicken. So yeah, you certainly won't want to you won't be bringing in packed lunches, wouldn't you, if you're going to sign for United. The real Johnny Sin said, do you still wish we'd gotten Caicedo? Yes, I do. Look, very happy with Ryan Gravenberch and a brilliant signing, but would I say now that I would like Caicedo? Yeah, I think Caicedo's a brilliant player. Financially, it probably would have impacted us now with what we're trying to do, but you know how it's all worked out. Do I have regrets about how it worked? No. Things have come together nicely for us, but I really rate Caicedo as a footballer. I think he's incredible, but very happy with the squad that we have as well. Liverpool should go for Sesko if we can't get Isak. Shithousery. Imagine. Like, I'd be lying, Nick, if I said there wasn't a moment or two today where I kind of wondered, was that possible? Jake said, Craig, would you like to see Adeyemi at Liverpool? 23 and can play across the front three. So, unsure. Definitely got something about him, Karim Adeyemi, but it feels like, how do I say this? I don't think he has perhaps kicked on as much as maybe expected when he first broke through. When he joined them, I think, was it from Salzburg that he joined? I can't remember if it was. And look, I will say to you, I'm not the hugest watcher of Bundesliga football, but at this point, I don't get the feeling it'd be a good fit, especially with young Rio there. Shit Crew said not good enough. Tantrum Pro said Pace Merchant not good enough. Well, I'll certainly take your thoughts on it because, like I said, I've only seen bits and pieces about Adeyemi, really, Champions League and stuff like that. Safine said, Craig, got a question. If we get Isak, what's the plan for Gakpo? Also, who'll be the three to play in midfield? So I think as fans, Safine, we need to stop thinking about starting 11s because we can't. We've played 65, 70 games and we need to have a collection of players that the manager can interchange without it seeing a drop off in performance levels. So I would really, really urge people to think about things from a squad perspective and not a starting 11. And with Gakpo, well, if you're Cody Gakpo, where you're feeling one barrier has been removed from you playing week in, week out now, and Diaz moving on, Rio probably needs a full season to bed in before you would consider him a real challenger for Cody. Look, I'm more than happy for Rio to be the understudy there and to get opportunities, but I don't feel yet that it's a 50-50 battle between him and Cody, because Cody obviously has the experience and that will come with Rio. So yeah, I still think Cody's absolutely fine. I think it's probably both a statement of the confidence we have in Rio and in Cody that they were willing to sell Luis Diaz. And don't forget, by the way, 11 p.m. tonight, the Anfield Agenda podcast will be out for members. Myself, Chris and Steve spoke for about 45 minutes earlier on. We discussed yesterday's game. We discussed the transfer stories as well as Adidas. So do keep an eye out for that one. If you're not a member, it will be out at 11 a.m. and it will be available on Spotify as well. Right, this one. Corbin said, would like to see a centre-back while we wait on Isak. Oh, mate, couldn't agree more. I just don't think there's an excuse for us not getting a centre-back. I can't think of one at this point, other than maybe having other deals that they're working on. But even at that, they knew when they sold Kwanzaa they needed a centre-back. And I have no rationale as to why we haven't got one yet. It's the thing that I think is infuriating or frustrating all Liverpool fans. Like, wherever you are on the Isak situation or whatever, you look on any platform or any forum or any comment section, every Liverpool fan is concerned about the depth at centre-back, and they're absolutely right to be. Jayden Dance is a good backup. No, he's not. He's not. Let's again be honest about this. Jayden Dance is a great talent, and I've every faith that Jayden Dance can get to the top level, but he hasn't proven he can stay fit. And we can't go into a season with a backup who is both inexperienced and hasn't proven that he can stay fit for a season, as well as having young Rio in attack. It would just be madness. So, respectfully, he's not a good backup. He's a good potential player for the future, but he absolutely needs a loan where he can prove that he can play week in and week out for a season and get through these injuries. So even if I agreed with you and I said, right, let's take a chance on him, he still hasn't got the pedigree of games yet, or experience, or rhythm to be able to be put into the team. So again, I just don't see, unfortunately, I don't see that one as being a credible option for now, but definitely for the future. I have every faith in Dan's development. He's a great footballer. What is Ibu's issues in signing? So, I don't know. Money. It must be money, because it seemed like money was the reason for the refusal of the last contract. Liverpool had given him, from the reporting from the journalist, Liverpool had offered him a deal that could get to a high number, but maybe had a lower base salary than he would have wanted. That's all I can think of at this point. It's actually kind of gone really quiet as well about the Madrid links for Konate, which is good news. Chad, how are we, dude? Wearing the same hoodie today. It's fantastic. You have a great sense of style. Do you know what? This for me was a very bold choice. You know, you don't really see me wearing creams or whites because they're not very fat friendly on occasion. But there was something about this one, Chad, that just caught my eye, and you know, I'm really glad I got it. To be fair, mate, I'm enjoying wearing it. It's very comfortable. Right, what have we got? I don't buy the Dan's hype. I've not seen anything that screams to me he's a serious option. He's not for now. I think, again, it's one of these situations where I don't like to push back on somebody who thinks well of a player, because that's what fans should be thinking. But he's not there yet. He just isn't, and it's more because of the injuries, unfortunately, that he's had in his development. Scotty said, "Can I ask how much the jumper was?" I think, Scotty, in euro, I think this was €65. But again, it was part of an order we threw in that had like 8 or 9 different things on it. So I think it was €65, something like that, which would be about 55 or £60, I think. Jerry said, if Isak is out, any idea? Oh, mate, I don't know. It's slim pickings, Jerry, isn't it? If it's not Isak. But what Dave O.C. Cop posted makes sense. Liverpool want a quick resolution because, we could maybe let this situation drag on till the end of next week. But after that, you do have to start thinking about this season and the here and now for us. And I don't think it's going to be from a lack of Isak trying or making it clear to Newcastle that he wants to move. The only thing that will stall this is if they can't get a forward in, and it's a judgment call for us about when we draw a line under it. All right. Fabrizio just posted Jackson will leave this month. Oh yeah, I forgot about him. Genuinely, when we were talking about potential options for Newcastle, I forgot about Nicholas Jackson. So Jackson, Ramos, Visa, Watkins, other potential options. But again, do you have any faith that Newcastle will get that done quickly? What's this? So again, Plettenberg basically saying, if Leipzig and United reach an agreement there, Sesko sign for United, basically. So again, leaning into what Nick said earlier on, it seems like both options are still open with regard to the offers went in. So perhaps Nick's thought process on that one was probably fairer than some of the other reports. But again, it still ends up, unfortunately, looking like Newcastle are going to miss out here, whichever way this is dressed up. Jason said, Craig, do you think Slot will use Stevens as a young centre-back instead of buying one? No, the reporting on this is that he will go out on loan this season. I've been very impressed with Stevenson pre-season, but again, this isn't a situation that we can go into making do, and we shouldn't have to. We should have quality cover at centre back, and with all due respect to Stevenson, he's not experienced enough, in my opinion, to come in to do that, fulfill that role. But then again, I'd make an argument that even the likes of Giovanni Leone isn't ready. He's 18. If Konate was out for 3 months, we've got Van Dijk, Gomez, and him. It's still questionable for me, which is why the Mark Gay one just makes so much sense. It just gives Liverpool cover and options in a whole multitude of ways. So this one from Mike. PSA Anfield Papers is a parody account, all fake. I never even heard of the account, to be honest with you, Mike, so no idea. I'll take your word on it, mate, but I haven't seen any posts from them or don't know anything of them. Evan Nielsen or Larson as a plan B? No and no for me. Neither would be good enough in my humble opinion. And also, I'm sure Bournemouth don't want to hear from Liverpool again or Richard Hughes after Kirkes and that. Right, let's have a look at the poll. So we asked, how many players do we still need this summer? 1, 2, 3, or more than 3. So please do have a vote on that one. This one, Itachi said, who's that good looking man in that beautiful hoodie? Is there somebody behind me? So nothing has changed about Isak. They missed Sesko, but they could have to sign Ramos, Watkins, striker. Isak wants Liverpool. Oh, that part, mate, you can be absolutely comfortable of. This won't be from a lack of Isak making his feelings clear to Newcastle or Liverpool being unwilling to spend the money. No, you're spot on in what you're saying there. Isak has made it very, very clear that not only does he want Liverpool, but that he feels like he's been messed about and broken promises have been made from Newcastle's end. So he wants out at this point, and whether it's going to be in a year's time, he will leave Newcastle. But unfortunately, Newcastle's shitty window is not only annoying their own fans, it's now annoying other clubs' fans. Sorry, I'm just flying back through a few things here. One sec. Sorry, bear with me. I'm trying to find a super chat that I must have missed. Bear with me. Oh, Lou, yours was next on the list. Sorry. I was looking lower because I thought, you see, can I read your super chat? My apologies. It was next one on the list here to read. I was scrolling down. I thought it was lower. So you said, and again, to anybody who does send in a super chat, of course, I'll adhere to get to it as quickly as I can. But sometimes, I've got to dip in between the news, some conversation with the chat. I will always try my best to get to them as quickly as I can. Saw Slot and the players the same hotel as me yesterday before the game. The new players are slotting in well. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Lou. Yeah, the players are looking really good to me, and the reports you're hearing out as well from the training ground as well about the likes of how well Ekitike is fitting in, and it's good. And on that, actually, let's hear from some of the players, because I've got some stuff I haven't had a chance to go through yet. So let's hear from the man himself. Actually, let's hear from Florian Wirtz on Ugo Ekitike. He said he's a really good player. I enjoyed watching him, and I was really happy that he decided to come to us. In the training sessions already, they've gone well. In the game, we had some combinations that were good. I'm happy that I can play with him. Also, from Florian Wirtz, he said, the big challenge is to take the title again, and it's the most difficult thing, so I just try to create chances and also work against the ball, because I can also run a lot, and we'll try to bring this to the team. Then, with the ball, I hope I can make the team better and bring my teammates into better situations. I want to read you through something from Bayern Space, if I can, because this really caught my eye earlier on. And I know Bayern Space is viewed as almost parody by some people, but a lot of the information that they have put out this summer has actually been proven to be correct. So I wanted to read out something here from this account, because it really gave a good insight into that negotiation between Liverpool and Bayern over Luis Diaz. So he said, from inside Bayern, there is a quiet recognition that the Luis Diaz transfer was orchestrated entirely on Liverpool's terms, with Bayern left to follow along. Richard Hughes controlled the negotiations from start to finish, setting the framework early and never letting go of the upper hand. On Bayern's side, Jan Christian Dressen led the talks, but lacked the authority, leverage or instinct to shape the deal in any meaningful way. Hughes quickly secured signals from the Diaz entourage that the player would be open to a move to Saudi Arabia in the near future. Armed with that assurance, Liverpool insisted on a significant sell-on clause that would allow them to benefit substantially from any future transfer. Bayern, facing internal pressure to deliver a name and lacking serious alternatives, accepted the structure as it was presented. The final agreement includes a base fee of €72 million with a further €9 million in add-ons that are considered so easily achievable that the full €81 million is already being treated as a formality. With the sell-on clause factored in, the total fee for Liverpool could receive may rise to about €100 million if a high-value transfer occurs. Inside Bayern, there's no denial of how the deal is played out. While the move is being presented publicly as a strong signing, those involved know exactly how the negotiations unfolded. Liverpool dictated the terms, protected their future interests, and extracted maximum value. Bayern, on the other hand, paid heavily, agreed to a structure they did not design, and came away with a player who may already be positioned for resale. It was, in every sense, a deal done on Liverpool's terms. That's pretty good to read, to be fair, as a Liverpool fan. And again, from that Bayern side, it looks like Richard Hughes went in there and wiped the floor with Bayern Munich in those negotiations. And tip of the hat to Richard Hughes. Rio. So, Fabrizio Romano said, Liverpool believe Rio is a special talent and are preparing a new contract for the winger. Again, no real surprise there. We knew that contract was coming, I think, next month. Other bits and pieces that I want to go back over today. Tyler Morton. Tyler Morton has completed his permanent transfer to Olympique Lyonnais. The club confirmed that today. Everybody at Liverpool would like to wish Tyler Morton all the very best for the future. So just to confirm on that one, it was a £15 million sale and Liverpool have a 20% sell-on clause in the future for anything above the money that Lyon paid. On this one, the Times have said Leipzig are showing an interest in Harvey Elliott should they sell Xavi Simons. Elliott has spoken to some Leipzig executives as he considers his options, with regular playing time again likely to be limited at Liverpool. So I wonder, does Jurgen Klopp have a big appealing factor in this for Elliott as well, knowing that he's over that whole Red Bull brand? Be an interesting move for Harvey. You know, I can't remember, did they have Europa League football next season, Leipzig? I really don't remember where they finished in the Bundesliga, to be honest with you. So, worth keeping an eye on that situation. And like I said at the very start of the stream, it'd be nice if Liverpool could lean on Leipzig to look more favourably on Newcastle's option. Let's not forget Kwanzaa's buyback clause. It's a very high one though, and one that doesn't come into play for 2 seasons. So put Kwanzaa out of your head. And honestly, even speaking with the lads on the podcast today, I don't have much faith that we ever activate that release clause to bring him back in. In all honesty, I don't. Where are we? So I had done lose one. This one from Maddie. So I think everybody needs to forget about Isak in this window because Newcastle can't score in a brothel in terms of targets. They won't let him leave. I agree with you, Maddie. If they can't get somebody in, he probably doesn't go. I can't really argue with you on that one. Not that I want to argue with you, mate. Chad said, I haven't heard much about Jeremy Jacquet until today. Is he worth the go if Liverpool makes that move, or is the potential move more fake news? I haven't got a Scooby-Doo about this young man. Arsenal had been linked with him. You know, I did a quick little search earlier on just to find out he's 1.9 metres tall. He's 20 years of age, plays for Stade Rouen in France, and is a right-footed player. That's all I know about him, mate. So I'm certainly not going to be the one to tell you if he's good enough or not. But he seems to be certainly of the profile that Liverpool will be looking at, that young centre-back. Suleiman, how are you, dude? Lovely to see you again. Hope you're well. Said, with both Frimpong and Kirkes playing as wingers in possession, getting one more centre-back is the minimum. Our centre-backs are going to be busy. Certainly agree with you, dude. And agree on the minimum part as well, Suleiman. It definitely feels like, you know, in a window where we've all been fulsome in our praise for the obvious reasons, this feels like the one real glaring deficiency. I mean, you can make allowances for the situation with Isak and Newcastle because that's, again, sort of out of our hands. But bringing in a replacement centre-back isn't out of our hands, and we should be getting the finger out and getting that done. Right, nearly at 2,500 votes on that one. So if you haven't voted on how many players you think we need yet, please do. Let's move on to this one. A world in pyjamas. That sounds like my wife's ideal world, mate. My wife owns more pyjamas than I do Adidas wear, if you can believe that. She's a freak for pyjamas. Every day she's coming in with new pyjamas and onesies. And so yeah, she'd love to live in a world of pyjamas. I agree it would be funny to get Sesko to annoy everybody off, but a centre-back is more needed. Rio should be introduced slowly as he's still growing. I agree with every word you've written. I don't want Rio to be thought of as a Diaz replacement in my mind, because I don't think it's fair. I think he is a very good player who we're all excited about, but I understand Arna being willing to push him forward now, but I still expect a measured amount of games from this season compared to Cody Gakpo. Eddie, if we don't sign Isak, do you think Liverpool tell Federico Federico to stay to back up Hugo? I mean, from a numerical standpoint, Eddie, we could do that, but we seen last season that he wasn't in the manager's thinking. He didn't go on the pre-season tour. He's had limited minutes in pre-season. So again, you're going to have the same fallback as no rhythm, no match readiness. And again, with him wanting to play in the World Cup next year, I think he wants to move this summer. So from the numbers perspective, what you've said makes sense, but it doesn't really solve the problem for us, in my opinion. We still need to finish what we started in this window and get the bodies in that we need. John said, won't Barca be in the race from next season? So in my mind, and from what I've read, I fully think Barcelona are going to make a move next year for what's his face? Sorry, I'm drawing a blank at the minute. Julian Alvarez. That's my understanding of what they think could become a possible opportunity if Atletico don't have a season that Julian Alvarez deems as good enough or that they've challenged enough. But again, you can make the argument, do they have the money for that? And, you know, there's a long way to go before I could answer that question. 50 mil for Watkins, Craig. He's 29. Do a job. You do a job, but this isn't about doing a job. This is about building a squad that frightens the shit out of Europe, and Ollie Watkins to do a job for about 40 or 50 million quid doesn't feel like sensible business to me. Unless it's a Newcastle question, in which case, you do a great job for Newcastle. Just not for us. And about to hit 30, I think, as well. So just doesn't make sense in my head anyway. Itachi, Darwin wants Europe as a priority. Newcastle need a striker. In all honesty, the Geordies would love him if he bangs in 15 plus goals. Look, I'd love that to be the case, mate. I'd love to wake up tomorrow and see that Newcastle have inquired about Darwin Nunez and everything's tickety-boo and we could do that little deal. Darwin going one way, Isak coming the other. But it hasn't seemed to be spoken about in the media at all. AC Milan, Al Hilal, the only two clubs that I'm aware of. I don't think Napoli are still at the table. So, yeah, Newcastle just mustn't have any interest whatsoever in Darwin, because I'm sure Liverpool will be more than willing to listen. Martin said, not that I take any notice of pre-season, but Endo at centre-back and Jones at right-back does raise an eyebrow. It concerns me as well, because we need, what would I say? Sometimes it's okay to have versatile players, but when we start to look at key positions and start to try to jump through hoops mentally to find versatile players to fill them, I don't think that's the MO that we were supposed to have this summer, which was build a frightening squad full of here and now players. And we've intentionally moved a centre-back on, so we got to replace. Craig, would you rather sign just Isak or just Gay in this window? I can't believe I'm about to say this, but just Gay, because I really feel we're short. We're short at centre-back, and in the forward line, and now we're not short, but when we sell players, we will become short, but it's still in our own hands. So I would say Mark Gay is the priority for me in that scenario, if I could only have one. And God, that must actually let me know how concerned I am about centre-back as well, that I'm answering that, because the answer should be Isak, but really feel that centre back's a priority. So God Almighty, that's a tough question, but I gave you an honest answer. Craig, you opened the new can. Now all Liverpool fans gonna stay in pajamas. Sweet, that's good. No, pajamas are part of the YouTuber's uniform. I would say 80% of the time I'm streaming, I've got shorts on or pajama bottoms on the lower half. So I'm always got something on the lower half, by the way, just in case that came across a little bit differently. But most of the time I'm in pajamas or tracky bottoms. Or sorry, pajamas or shorts. Wayne said there is a bid on Nathan Collins. Is there? I'm not aware of it, mate. I know we've been linked to him, but he was made captain at Brentford, and I think it will be a difficult deal to get done. But again, great player for me. I think Nathan Collins will be more than good enough. So I hope you're right. But to the best of my understanding, it's interest and not an offer. Where was I? That one. This one from Callum. Said, sorry, been at work, anything major, good to see you. Well, thank you, Callum, and hope work was all right for you, mate. Nothing major. It still feels like Newcastle are about to lose out on another target, unfortunately, Callum. It looks like Sesko could be heading to Manchester United. So Dave said, Craig, stand up and prove it. Well, I'm in shorts right now, Dave. Camo shorts, so could absolutely prove it. But, you know, you just want me to pull my hamstring, don't you, dude? Because, you know, the last time I tried to show you my socks, I got an injury. Man down. Dave, Getafe centre-back Omar Alderete, left-sided but option. Never heard his name come up, Dave. But then again, bro, I haven't heard about a lot of these younger centre-backs at all. So certainly I will try to remember to give him a look, my man. But thank you for the heads up. Stargirl, I almost used your real name there and I didn't want to out you, so I will just continue to say Stargirl until you tell me otherwise. We all like your new Liverpool top. We need a centre-back. Thank you. We do need a centre-back. Absolutely. It's the one thing you're not going to see me push back on anybody on. We 100% need one. Right, so we asked, how many players do we need? And with 2,750 votes done, you guys reckon 52% of you that 2 is the most voted answer. 2 players, 36% said 3 players, more than 3, 6%, and 1, 4%. Again, I agree. I agree with the way that vote went. 2, I would be yes, but 3, again, I think is more than understandable as well that people would think 3. Where are we? This one from Harvey. Who do you think is our second top scorer after Salah? Oh, good question, Harvey. Oh. I'm going to say Gakpo. Yeah, I'm going to go Cody. I would have said Diaz if he was still here. Obviously, if Isak comes in, I'll change my answer. But right now, I would probably just about nudge to Cody Gakpo. But really good question, Harvey. Thank you. Nick said RB Leipzig are now internally discussing and evaluating the Newcastle Man United offers for Sesko and their structures according to Sky in Germany. Recent update. Yeah, we went through that one, Nick. And to credit you for earlier on, certainly that reporting is in line with what your good self said, mate. Just still feels like we're going to end up, Nick, seeing Sesko end up at United, unfortunately. But I'd love to see us put that pressure on. Like I said, if Leipzig really want Elliott, maybe Liverpool could have a little word in their ear hole to say, well, we can help this negotiation along if you lean favourably towards Newcastle. Rusba said, not impressed with Sesko's standoffish attitude. Glad he's nowhere near Liverpool. So it's been a weird one. Like all summer, it was like, I thought he was going to go to Arsenal. Before the window opened, I was sure Sesko would end up at Arsenal. Then they didn't like the numbers, moved away and got Gyökeres. Then it felt like nobody was going to move for Sesko, and now all of a sudden there are 2 clubs fighting over him, and it must be pretty much a dream scenario for RB Leipzig. And you think it'd be a decision he would communicate quickly as to which one he wants to do, but let's wait and see. What's your prediction for top 4? Do you want it in order? I'll try to give you an order. Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Chelsea will be my guess at a top four now. In that order. Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Chelsea. Obviously, that could move around in any direction, but I would be very, very, very surprised if they aren't the top four in some order by the end of the season, because I do think that there's a gap between them and then maybe your Newcastles, your Villas, your United, your Spurs. Yeah, I just think those four are the sensible answer. I need this hoodie. I love wearing them in late summer, fall. I can only find it in size small in the Liverpool shop. Where did you get yours? Liverpool store, mate. Got it on the opening day when the Adidas stuff went on sale. I think it was on the Adidas app as well, so it might be worth checking on that. But yeah, got this one from the official Liverpool store. Dave said, putting a cheeky bet in for a Ekitike, top goal scorer. Just him getting all the rebounds. Hey, cheeky bet, nothing wrong with it, mate. I done one the other day for a couple of league winners. I went for Shamrock Rovers, Liverpool, Barcelona. I put one more as well. I think it was Monaco to finish top three in the French league, and I can't remember what the last one I put was. There's one more I threw in there as well. Chris said, evening Craig, fake fan here, was wondering how do the shirts fit? Are they true to size? Or did you size up? No, from one fake fan to another, Chris, they were fair to size. Like, I wear a double XL in hoodies or t-shirts from Adidas all the time. They're a little bit big, but because my man boobs pushes out the sides, as you see when I wear the jersey, my problem isn't the belly for the double XLs, it's the top half, unfortunately. But I find them very true to size, so stick with whatever you're going for normally, I would say. Have you seen True Geordie's reaction to Isak? No, I haven't. I'm going to have a guess that he's angry at Liverpool, and yeah, I don't know. I don't watch most people's contents because I just don't have time. It's never like, obviously I like Brian, he's very good and I consider him a friend, like, but I haven't seen too much now because yeah, man who fake. Oh, sorry, Scott, this was an inside joke from yesterday, by the way, mate. Sorry. We had somebody called me a fake fan yesterday, and the chat were awesome, and just the joke became, we're all fake fans. And everybody was like, hi Craig, proud fake fan here of 50 years, or fake fan who's been to Anfield 100 times, or the chat basically just were legends. And I sat back and just watched the chat do my work for me and absolutely just own this little bitch that came in to try to belittle me, and the chat were awesome. So yeah, please don't think we're being serious when we say the fake fan thing. It's just a little inside joke from yesterday, which had me smiling all night, to be honest. It was great. This one from Shane. After Sesko, if it happens, hopefully, we need a midfielder and a keeper. I don't think he's been standoffish. I think he's pretty clear he wants us. Do you know what I'd seen, Shane, as well, which was your link to Donnarumma, which would certainly be an upgrade on the clown that you currently have, Onana. But again, like, from the outside, Shane, the question that we would all have is, where the hell are United getting the money for all of this after, Jim crying Portsmouth and sacking off 200 odd staff, I think. Obviously, I know you're going to do business as well with trying to move on the likes of Garnacho, and Rashford has gone out on loan, and you probably moved on one or two others that I can't think of, but it definitely feels weird saying we have no money, we'll run out of money soon, to here's Cunha and Mbomo, Sesko, a goalkeeper and a midfielder. Yeah, genuinely would love to know, as a United fan, your take on the business versus what Jim has done for the cost-cutting measures. Do you think, like I was trying to explain earlier on, that a club can't stand still anyway, and the best way to try and get out of this shit financial situation is almost to buy yourself back up into those Champions League spots on a regular basis, if that makes sense. Craig, I live in Newcastle and I always get stick for my Liverpool strip. Oh, well, I mean, you're behind enemy lines, mate. You know, you got to expect a bit of stick up there. But, hey, look, I like the Geordies. You know, I know they don't like me pretty much at the minute, but I like the Geordies. I'll always have a soft spot for them. Do you see Nallo as a backup? Yeah. Whether he's a good enough backup or not, that's, I guess, another question. But I do see him as a backup, yeah. Right. I am going to go record the late night video. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place. If you can, a couple of things. Don't forget to join the Anfield Agenda WhatsApp community. If you haven't done so, just scan that QR code there on the screen. If you are looking to be creative on how you watch things, or you need a good VPN, or you want to support the channel, don't forget to check out our sponsor Surfshark as well for all the information I gave you earlier on around them. Oh, I like this from Shane. Fair play, Shane. I like it. Good, straightforward answer, bro. Appreciate you. And congratulations as well, mate, on Sam. He said, simple as, Sir Jim is a liar and just another Glazer. I really do appreciate your honesty there, Shane. Thank you, bro. Right, folks, as I said, the podcast, 11 o'clock for members tonight. That will be out. It'll be out 11 a.m. for everybody else and on Spotify as well. And I will see you guys tomorrow.